Hi everyone, and welcome back to another chapter of Drenched. Artwork and story was written by me, Stacey Holt. For my voice actors, Diz will be voicing Cat Noir, Adrien, and Felix. Zora will be voicing the teacher, Lila, Alex, and Bunnix. Etsuko will be voicing Tikki, and I will be voicing Marinette, Ladybug, and the Narrator. Remember that this is Season 3 of Thunderstorms, so if you haven't seen Thunderstorms or Downpour, I recommend you go watch those first. Now, back to the chapter. Chapter 5. Marinette would look over to Felix every once in a while and notice little things Felix would do. Even though Felix gave off a serious and cold appearance, he was rather shy and sweet. Somewhat. At least to Marinette anyways. She could only see it from her view. She hasn't seen him interact with anyone else, so she could only assume. She noticed that any time she seemed to be struggling with certain tasks or problems, he would nudge her and slightly lean his iPad her way, letting her see his notes. She assumed he meant to do it, since he did it every time she got frustrated. It was sweet. She smiled, and he smiled back, thinking he was merely wanting to make friends. He was new after all. Why wouldn't he want to make friends? Adrien would glance back and see Marinette and Felix getting along, and sigh, feeling a little left out. He knew it was dumb to feel that way. She was his lady after all. But still.
Adrien?
Lila smiled, leaning toward him.
Yeah, Lila?
He said, leaning away from her, a little uncomfortable.
Oh, come on. What's the matter?
She frowned.
Are you upset because she had to move?
You lied to get your way again, Lila.
He frowned, looking down at his iPad, not looking in her direction. Lila rolled her eyes and huffed.
Don't you think those two look cute together, though?
Lila smiled.
What? What do you mean?
Adrien shot his head toward Lila, a little angry.
Oh, calm down. I didn't mean to spark a nerve. Is she really your girlfriend? I thought it was just a rumor.
Lila laughed.
It's not a rumor. We are dating.
Adrien stated, glaring, still angry. Adrien turned back to his iPad, ignoring Lila. Lila sat in silence, and then shifted her gaze up toward Felix and Marinette, glaring. Class ended, and Adrien waited for Marinette to pack her things and smiled as she walked down to meet him, but didn't expect Felix to follow behind her.
You can go ahead and head home, Felix. I'm going with Marinette today.
Adrien smiled nervously. You are? Marinette said, obviously unaware.
Uh-huh.
Felix said, not buying his sudden change of plans. Adrien looked over to Marinette and gave her his most pleading eyes to get her to lie for him. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Sorry, we did have plans. I must have forgotten. My bad, Marinette said, smiling nervously.
Plans, huh? I'll tag along then.
Felix smirked.
Tag along?
Adrien said, wide-eyed.
Yeah? Is that a problem, cousin?
Felix asked.
Oh, not at all.
He smiled, looking at Marinette, now completely unsure of what he had done.
Great. Where are we off to?
Felix smiled, knowing he had caught him in a lie. Yeah, Adrien. Where were our plans? Marinette smiled, trying to hide her irritation. Adrien laughed.
Everyone! Out of the building! Go home now! There's an Akuma attack! Hurry!
A teacher yelled, running by.
Our plans will have to wait.
Adrien said, turning to Felix and Marinette.
Akuma attack? Now? I thought Gabriel was in jail.
Felix asked, confused. Guess the police were wrong? Marinette said, running out of the class, but felt someone take hold of her hand as she was running. She smiled, turned back, and saw Adrien running behind her.
Felix! Try to get home as fast as you can! I'm going to take Marinette home first!
Adrien called back, leaving Felix behind. Felix rolled his eyes and walked calmly out of the classroom as Adrien and Marinette continued running their way to safety. Marinette and Adrien ran until they knew there was no one around.
He was right. Isn't Gabriel in jail?
Adrien asked again. Mayura may still have both. We can't assume anything, Marinette said, thinking, taking back her first guess. She could be one at a time. Or could unify them?
Well then, let's not waste any more time, m'lady.
Adrien said, still holding her hand, smiling. Marinette transformed, seeing Adrien blush, and rolled her eyes, pulling her hand away, motioning for him to transform as well. He transformed and did his famous pose at the end, smiling at her at the end, trying to show off. You're just trying to be extra today, aren't you? Ladybug laughed.
That's what happens when you don't give your kitty any attention all day, Bugaboo.
He winked. Ugh, come on. And you know that wasn't my fault, she said, running towards where the people were running from. Ladybug pulled out her yo-yo and zipped her way over, seeing Cat Noir close behind her. The girl standing in front of them had been akumatized. The word must have gotten around that Adrien Agreste had a girlfriend. She had her heart broken. The girl in front of them was crying her heart out, and Ladybug looked over to Cat Noir and felt guilty. The victim's akumatization caused the girl's tears to fill the city's water level. It almost reminded them of Siren, though she was not a mermaid or could swim underwater. She wanted people to drown in heartache as she was. Fighting the girl soaked the entire city due to the girl's crying. Though after purifying the Akuma and a miraculous ladybug later, they helped the poor girl up and explained that everyone out there has a soulmate, and someone out there will be waiting for her. I'll take her back. I'll meet you at your place later, Ladybug whispered in his ear as she passed by. Cat Noir was hesitant at first at the sudden change of plans, since they just told Felix they were going to hang out with Marinette that day. But he could easily say that they just decided to come to his home, since his home had better security. That way, it didn't seem as suspicious.
You got it, m'lady.
He smiled, pouncing away. That was fine. That gave him time to get home and take a shower and maybe Febrez's room a little, so she wouldn't be able to smell all of the cheese Plagg stashed in his room. Ladybug helped the girl up and took her home. Along the way, she didn't think it would start to rain. She swung into his room and de-transformed, though her hair was still dripping wet. She looked around and didn't see him. She sat down on the couch and gave Tikki a cookie with a smile.
Marinette!
Tikki squeaked. What? Marinette asked.
Your hair! It's still wet! It's getting your shirt all wet now!
Tikki was right. Her hair was dripping onto her shirt, and now had the entire back of her shirt covered in water. Marinette groaned and walked over to the bathroom door to see if she could grab a towel, and took hold of the doorknob and twisted it. She pulled it open, and a burst of steam hit her face as she was met with two emerald eyes looking at her.